Butterworth, and some wonderful contributors who are going to talk about how fascinating Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole are as a creative hub for our local creative industries. But before we start, let's find out who we have with us today and get them to introduce themselves. So I'll start to my right.
I'm Simon Anakiariko from Appius.
And your role in the company?
I'm CEO.
Oh, superb. You're the big boss.
It's a full service digital agency.
Excellent.
So we have creative developers.
And so you may have a few opinions about South Coast creative industries in general, I should think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. And
good morning, my name is Francesca Griffiths. I'm from Electropages Media. We're based down in Poole. My role there is Head of Digital Experience.
excellent, superb. And you also?
My name's Ben. I'm a senior developer at Cold Banana agency, just in the Triangle, and we focus mainly on the technical side of things.
Superb. And actually, I bring them round, yeah, absolutely. And the reason I was distracted all the way through the intro is because we have a coffee delivery which is going to come. I think that's quite reasonable to bring that into our rehearsal here. And if our rehearsal ends up being our main programme, which it could do, that's still an informal, nice way of introducing why there's coffee cups on the table. So let's open up the debate. Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole is not an obvious destination for the creative industries. When you think of creative industries, you think about London, maybe Manchester, now the BBC are up there, but the big cities and those hubs. Why Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole? What do we have to offer?
I think for me, one of the myths I think is that because we're a town and we're not the city, that you're not going to get big brands come to agencies down here, and that's absolutely not the case. We work with many big brands. We work with brands such as Sony, Cabelco, Osprey, Casio, and they're big household names. And it's what we have to offer is just as vast as you can get in any city in the world. And because now that everything can be done remotely as well, and that we can open ourselves up to work with skill sets across the globe. We work overseas a lot of the time, and you can pull people in from everywhere. So we can do the same as a big London agency can. We've got the contacts and we've got the pool to do that.
Brilliant. Well, that's answered that question. We can all go home. No, that's you've just summed everything up.
Sorry,
but I think one of the strengths we have here at Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole is that it is three towns, but we are together as a conurbation. So we have that ability to be small and sort of friendly, while also actually being a city. It's 300,000 people at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's also something like 450 agencies, if not more. There's 80 large digital agencies in the area, as I understand it from Matt. So across those agencies, you've got the opportunity to move around, you've got the opportunity to have careers developing. We've got team that have worked for us for 10, 15, 20 years, started from, all kinds of roles, office manager role to project manager to program director or a junior creative, all the way through the ranks. And you get a lot more opportunity to influence as well. So I think that's a major factor, is you can be a big fish in a small pond, if you like.
Absolutely, but I think we have that twin identity because we are sort of a city, we are a large conurbation as well as being a city, so best of both worlds, I would perhaps suggest. How do you feel about working out at BCP?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm from Coventry originally, and then came to Bournemouth University and graduated in 2017. Yeah, all before this was here, which was this is incredible.
Yes.
And then enjoyed it so much down here. I didn't really have any experience with Bournemouth or BCP before coming to university, and then had a placement year at an agency down here. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed Bournemouth and stayed down here. So I think the talent that comes out of the university as well is really helps the scene and helps build such the vibrant scene that we have, where we can offer so much from the expertise.
And over the last couple of decades, the university success has seen the creative industry success locally as well, but perhaps both are feeding off of each other to an extent. You came to Bournemouth University. I actually did my master's here in journalism, so a different one. Were you local, or have you come from further afield?
Yes. Now just to actually bring both of those comments together, because Simon's mentioned there's 400 agencies here.
Yep.
And how you've come down and then you stayed here. And I was local, but I studied at the AUB. So I studied there, did diploma graphic design for 2 years, and then another 3 years I studied for the degree course in graphic design. And there was about 50 of us, 40 to 50 of us on our course in the graphic design. degree, but only 3 of us were from Bournemouth. So the rest had come throughout the country and from different countries all over the world. And you're right, people come down here and they go, oh, isn't it a lovely place? We've got the beach, we've got the forest. You know, I'm just going to set up here. I don't want to go back home. I've learned everything and now I want to stay here and set up shop. Hence where the 400 agencies have come from. I think a lot of people have come, studied here and thought, let's set up here.
Natural segue there. That was going to be my next point as well. Is actually, I think one of the advantages of running a business in this area is that when you are inviting clients to actually come, I mean, yes, we can do an awful lot online nowadays, but at some point the client will want to visit, and we do have a beautiful area on our doorstep. And instead of sort of battling through the middle of a city like London, they're coming down and having fish and chips on the seafront, perhaps, you know, for lunchtime. Do you find that the clients are attracted by the location itself?
Yeah, a lot of our clients are from all over the country, so and having activities and events in Bournemouth is always a nice, you know, attraction. But there is a lot remotely now. I guess from my perspective, depends on life stages. Coming back to the point about people moving to the area. So I was born and bred sort of Bournemouth, as it were, Bournemouth Grammar School, that kind of thing, and then went to university in London and America. And a couple of the other directors, you know, they went to University Loughborough and Royal Holloway, that kind of thing. And then they've started their careers in London, Sainsbury's, that kind of, you know, the BBC, those sorts of organisations. And then when they've wanted to raise a family, they've come back to Bournemouth for the schools and for the lifestyle and that sort of thing.
Absolutely, so, and I think that's actually something that we benefit from here locally, because there is a style, as far as the government are concerned, there's a talent pipeline crisis as far as getting people into creative industries. But actually, when you look at the research, as obviously we do in the university, it tends to actually be midlife careers that people leave the big cities, because that's when they want that lifestyle change to put the children into school somewhere perhaps nicer than the big inner cities. And I think we actually benefit from that, from people coming away from the big cities. Would you say that in your experience in your businesses?
Yeah, I mean, like Fran said though, capturing people who have been at the uni and stay. We've got a lot of graduates from Bournemouth Uni, a lot of international students who've done masters in Bournemouth, and then they've got a 2-year graduate visa. Yep. You know, on some of the data analytics courses and things like that that are areas of growth for us at the moment. And if you can't quite find the British talent, as it were, because they're coming into the Bournemouth Uni to do a masters, or other unis to do masters, and then we bring them down here and they look around, wow, you know, what amazing. I mean, obviously you've got the beach, you've got the forest.
7 miles of golden sand.
Yeah.
Sells it every time. You've got the Purbex as well.
If you like to windsurf, you never leave.
Yeah, I used to have a PR company I worked with. The CEO always wanted to come down for meetings because he liked paddleboarding. So you know.
We have one of our parent company. They're based out in Texas.
Yeah.
And when they come over, because you know, when we think about when we visit Texas, there's so much amazing cool thing to do. They love Port Harbour. They love going to the quay.
Yeah, of course.
It's just, for us, it's just there every day, isn't it? And it's just interesting. And they really enjoy coming down. They go out on a boat. And
it's actually really nice to see it through the eyes of those people visiting, because we do tend to get a little bit blasé perhaps about the area. I mean, how do you feel about Bournemouth, having moved here?
Yeah, I mean, nothing against Coventry, but there was a comparison I had to do.
Concrete.
Yeah. But at our company, I've got a few colleagues that are from Italy, one from Albania, and we've got quite a spread and a mix of different cultures, and they've come here specifically because they enjoy Bournemouth, and maybe they didn't know exactly what it was like, and then they've stayed and they've been really happy staying here. There's the contrast to London with the massive hustle and bustle, and that's not for everyone, but you've still got enough going on here where you don't feel like you're out in sticks, and that's really enjoyable. And the natural beauty that's all around Bournemouth and Dorset is something that I really enjoy personally. And I'm actually living in Eastleigh at the moment, so I get to do that drive, but I still visit Dorset a lot and obviously work here. So yeah, that's a massive factor in especially why myself and a few of my international colleagues have chosen this as the base. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, on open days here, I always say any questions after the end of the presentation, and then say, by the way, the answer to most of them is 7 miles of Golden Sands in that direction. Because it is a lovely place to come to. But we've talked about our pasts, and we've looked at perhaps the present to a certain extent. But what are the big challenges on the horizon for? I mean, the reason that we're doing this is that Matt, who's asked us to do this today, is seeing the big challenges, getting our name out there, getting Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole more awareness about the creative industries. Is that something that is a key challenge, or do you think that's a job that's already been done? What's the thoughts on the panel here?
Recruitment is an ongoing activity, challenge. They're working remotely has created a whole new dynamic. The pandemic has created quite a different dynamic on work-life balance and how people want to approach their careers. Sometimes I wonder if you are sat in your room on Teams as a graduate, how you're going to get the same career experience as you would have done in the past, sitting next to all your colleagues and everything else. The technology is obviously brilliant for collaboration. We opt for a kind of hybrid approach of 3 days in the office, 2 days remote. So that in itself is creating some debate as to, get a lot of developers talking to us. We want to work 100% remotely, and we say, well, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, the pros and cons to both, aren't there? I mean, how do you find?
I agree with Simon, that you need to have that balance. And when the pandemic hit, we all worked from home. And actually, previous to that, EPM were always very flexible in their working approach. If you wanted to work from home, you could. If you wanted to be in the office. We didn't have many fully remote because everyone does still like to come in. Yes, it has opened up more opportunities for recruitment because we can recruit people that do want to do fully remote. But we do encourage people to come into the office as much as possible. And we think it's really important to humanise the experience, and especially for graduates. And I have young junior members of my team, and I make an effort to go in and when they're in, just so they get the feel of people in the office and that team. So, but I think hybrid is where a lot of people are going to sit with this now, because I think people want to kind of not be stuck at home the whole week as well. I think it's really nice to get back out. I really enjoyed getting back into the office and having that routine again. I think it's a lot healthier.
I agree. I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah, so I actually work I work hybrid. So it cuts down on that commute from Eastleigh 3 days a week, which is nice. And we've got a couple of colleagues that do work fully remote, and we've got some that are in the office the full time. I enjoy coming into the office and socialising with everyone, and then being at home has its pros and cons. That's how I enjoy working.
We had huge challenges here with clearly moving all of our teaching and learning online, but actually there were some surprising advantages to it as well, in that we ended up doing studio work like this in the online universe, and the students came up with all these novel solutions to the problems of trying to create a live program online. And we had a guest speaker, the director of the Graham Norton program, do an online talk, and when they got asked questions and answers afterwards, it turned out that our students had over-teched compared to the BBC in that regard, and he was like, well, how do you use that? How do you do that? What's that software? And I mean, their biggest challenge, funnily enough, with the Graham Norton show at the time, was that their editors were working remotely and their data connections weren't fast enough to download 4K footage because they lived in these nice villages outside of London, So there are challenges to working remotely like that as well. But it was amazing how many opportunities, what I'm saying is, amazing how many opportunities came up that you wouldn't expect. Did you find that in any way as well, or is it just?
I think kind of what we were all speaking about is it's enabled us to be better prepared for hybrid working and remote working and be more capable to cater for that. With communication is the big thing, with agencies as opposed to something that's in-house product. Communication is massive. You're having to collaborate more because you're working with such a wide range of projects that all have their own challenges. So that was one of the big benefits of the pandemic, was kind of forcing us to adapt and find new ways to work. But now that we can do the hybrid, which I think is what we were speaking about, is kind of seems to be the good middle ground at the minute. Is we're still nothing really substitutes being able to speak to someone face to face. You can get as close as you can get with technology, and that's gotten better. But still not.
So that's cool. So what are the big headlines? What are the things that you'd love to promote about your individual businesses and what you do? What are the things that really get you up in the morning and you're like, here's your opportunity? Cameras, sat in front of cameras. What's it you would say about your business that you want everyone to know about?
Oh, that's a big question.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. You're gonna have to hold you to some time here. But yeah.
I guess from Appius's perspective, we're very focused on client results. The customers are all over the country, like we were just touching on, so that's really great to be able to, not drive 5 hours to Manchester to have a face-to-face. But yeah, working with the technologies that we work with that do a lot of personalisation, do a lot of data capture, trying to increase results for clients, and we basically have an approach where we work closer. So we're part of an extension of their team, being viewed as the experts for the technologies. And I think, as you said at the beginning, there's some big names that are working with Bournemouth agencies. I mean, we work with across all kinds of sectors, but we work with Aon, we work with Capita, we work with Claridge's Hotels. We've worked in the past with Sunseeker, who are more local, but
very local, yeah.
Hoya Vision Care in the Netherlands and Texas offices. So the amount of talent that we've got in the area and the way that we can apply that in an effective way for customers across the country and be experts on the technology and the processes that we want delivered, that's how we roll, as it were.
I guess actually you don't sort of compete with other local businesses because you do have the world that you can look to.
Yeah, we have particular customers that we target. We work with 5, 6, 7 different building societies. We do a lot in finance. And yeah, there's some similarity in technologies with a few agencies like Ben's and Appius's, but generally no, because we have our area of strength and the technologies that we work with and the industries we work with, and that kind of overlapping sweet spot doesn't tend to be with another Bournemouth agency. They'll be over the country somewhere.
So we can quite happily promote Bournemouth
Yes.
and Paul. Absolutely superb. And what would you say? I mean, what's your sales pitch for?
Okay, EPM is full service digital agency, and we really do encapsulate many different talents there. So we do web and app design and development, which is where we were born from many years ago, and since then we've acquired other agencies to build into our offering. So now we have 3D animation, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, film production, photography.
Wow.
We go out now and build a big event stands all over the world. We've just done one recently over in Munich for a company called Cabalco. We did 4,000 square feet of huge event where we brought in 25 cranes, which is what they do.
Awesome stuff.
I know.
I've got a few students who would love to talk to you, I think.
Really?
Because, I mean, here we have AI and not AI, what am I trying to say? We teach most of the things you've just said, 3D animation and user experience, user interface, all that sort of UX, UI,
Yeah, well, I'd love to speak to them, of course. But what we know, we bring everything together now, and we're an experiential agency. So when we go out to look at these big events, we can pull in all those talents. We can build apps for the events. We bring in photography for the events, video. We can bring in like touch screen technologies actually not touch screen, but gesture technologies now, where you can walk up to a stand and you can interact with the screen without touching, and that was something that COVID brought in, because before then we're using a lot of iPads and a lot of headsets, and nobody wanted to touch anything anymore. So kind of using those sensory approach to interactions.
Stuff. That sounds brilliant. I mean, the technology is so key at the moment. I mean, what would you sell?
Just to preface this, my background is in technical, so if I don't do a good job at selling the company, nobody blame me. It's all quite similar. Cold Banana, where we differentiate ourselves, is we focus more on the technical side, more on the software engineering and the development side. That's our main sale. We are full service, but what our main service is software engineering, software development, and that enables us to have a really good team of high quality engineers. So we actually have the ability to bring in, and we're taking in a lot of apprentices and graduates, and having that team and the focus on software engineering is what we do as a business, enables our junior colleagues to grow. And we work with a number of brilliant clients. Again, it's a wide range from all different sectors. We do some really cool in-house projects as well that Cold Banana has built its own products in the past and is building their own products, which offers its different challenges to working for a client where there's different demands, different deadlines, different focuses on where they're going to invest the money and where we're going to spend our time. So there's that variation in software engineering. But we do have all kinds of roles across project management, account management, but if you're a software engineer, take a look at Cold Banana.
Excellent, nice pitch. And I mean, I think today is a wonderful day to be talking about why Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole is such a good place to be, because as our cameras will see, the blue skies above the campus here.
Sunny Bournemouth.
Yeah, and of course we are in Bournemouth University, and I am going to talk about what you've seen this morning in our TV studios here, and I would guess you probably had no idea we had anything like this here.
No. I'm really impressed by the kit,
Yeah.
really cool. And you really get a feel for what it must be like on a TV show, like the way
Yep.
the team are interacting with you and giving you signals and all the tech and setup. When you go in there's like 100 people.
I think we found this yesterday, because this is the second time we've done this programme. We did a programme like this yesterday, and the contributors yesterday did exactly the same thing. They were like, because we took them afterwards, and then they were shocked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness,
I
so
know,
many people.
I was straight in there this morning, like, what's going on?
Yeah. How does this work?
Yeah.
No, and people are shocked how many people it takes. But also, I mean, you're watching this programme now, and everybody behind the scenes, the other side of the cameras, in our vision gallery and our audio gallery through there, they're all students putting this programme together in their own right. They are experiencing and experiential learning. I heard you say the word experiential. We love experiential. Experiential learning, where they're making their own programme. So it is fantastic stuff. And the university, I think, has been able to be that hub in this community to create what I think the three of you represent, you know, a really thriving creative industry locally. Quickly, would you agree? Because we're nearly out of time. Of course you'd agree.
With the facilities, the whole setup looked amazing, and I think it's at the centre of a growing digital agency environment, so that's a great thing.
Excellent. And we're out of time, so I'm just going to assume you totally agree with everyone I said.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure having my guests here today to talk about the creative industries here in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, and clearly there is huge growth in this area, geographically as well as in the digital future. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Adrian Butterworth, and we'll see you again for another programme very much like this at some point in the future. Goodbye.